His scale sits perfectly still. One side carries everything he ever did right. The other carries everything he ever did wrong. They are equal. Not close, equal. The needle does not lean one hair's width in either direction, and the crowd around him stretches further than any eye can reach. The plain has no trees, no walls, no shade of any kind. The ground is cracked and pale, like fired clay left too long in the kiln. Countless figures stand upon it, each one waiting, each one turned inward, absorbed in their own reckoning. The air itself seems to press down. He has been standing here longer than he can measure. He does not know what will happen to him. He knows only that the scale has not moved, and that he cannot make it move himself. Everything he had to give, he already gave. His life is behind him now. What remains is the weight of it. He turns. He looks at the figures nearest to him. He does not know their names. He does not know their stories. But he is desperate, and desperation does not wait for introductions. He approaches the first figure, and he asks. He asks simply and directly. He asks for one good deed to be placed on his scale. The figure he approached does not turn to face him. There is a long pause, then a slow movement, a shake of the head, or something like it, a refusal. Not cruel, not mocking, simply a refusal. The figure needs every weight it has. There is nothing to spare. He understands this. He steps back. He goes to another. He asks again. The words come harder this time, not because he has forgotten them, but because he already knows what refusal feels like. He asks anyway. He has no other choice. The second figure also refuses. The scale behind him remains perfectly, cruelly level. He moves through the crowd this way, figure after figure. He does not beg. He does not weep loudly. He simply asks, and he is refused. And he asks again. Each refusal costs him something. Not pride. Pride is a small thing now. It costs him hope. And hope here is the only currency that matters. He begins to understand that everyone here is in the same condition. They are all holding tightly to what they have. Some have much and still cannot spare any. Some have barely enough and know it. He is not being refused out of selfishness alone. He is being refused because this place is unlike any other place. Here, a single deed can mean everything. He stops walking. He stands alone in a space between the crowds. He looks at his scale. It has not moved. He has asked many times. He has been refused each time. There is no anger left in him, and there is no strategy left either. He is simply standing in the plain, in the dust, with a level scale and no more ideas. Then someone approaches him. He does not approach this person. This person comes to him. He does not recognize this figure. He has no memory of meeting them before, no sense of a shared history, no reason to expect anything from them. The figure stops in front of him, or rather, beside him, and waits. The stranger speaks first. The words are quiet. They are not a speech. They are not an explanation of who the stranger is or what the stranger has done. The stranger simply says that there is one deed, one single deed on the stranger's own scale. And the stranger is offering it to him, to this man whose scale will not move. He does not understand immediately. He looks at the stranger's hands. He looks at the stranger's scale, because everyone here has a scale, and the stranger's scale is also level, not heavy on one side. Level. The stranger has almost nothing, and the stranger is offering the one thing that might tip a scale. He tries to refuse. This is important. He tries to refuse. He can see what the stranger is risking. He can see that this one deed might be the only thing standing between the stranger and ruin. He shakes his head. He takes a step back. He says, in whatever way a man says such things here, that he cannot take it. The stranger does not argue. The stranger does not make a case. The stranger simply holds the offering steady. There is a stillness between them that is longer than silence. The crowd around them continues to wait in its own business. These two figures stand apart from all of it, in a moment that belongs only to them. He accepts. He does not know why exactly. Perhaps because he has run out of alternatives. Perhaps because there is something in the stranger's stillness that is more convincing than any argument. He accepts the deed. And at the moment of acceptance, before anything else happens, both of them go quiet. The deed moves. That is the only way to say it. The deed, which belonged to the stranger, moves from the stranger's scale to his. It crosses from one life's account to another. And the moment it arrives, his scale, the scale that has not moved through all of this long waiting, tips. The good side goes down. The heavy side is now the right side. He stands there looking at his scale. It has moved. After all of that, after the long waiting, the many refusals, the moment when he thought there was no way forward, it has moved. The needle is no longer level. He is no longer in the middle. He does not know what comes next, but the middle is behind him now. He turns to look at the stranger. The stranger's scale is still there. The stranger gave away the one deed that was on it. The stranger's scale is now empty on the good side. He sees this. He understands what it means. The stranger gave him everything the stranger had to give, and is now standing with a scale that shows nothing. Then the stranger's scale moves. This is the part that neither of them expected. The stranger's scale, the one that was just emptied, moves. Not slowly, not hesitantly. It tips, and the good side goes down, and it goes down far, weighted by something that was not there a moment ago. The stranger watches it happen. The deed of giving, the act of handing over the only thing you have to someone who has nothing, has its own weight. It is not the same as the original deed. It is heavier. It is a new thing entirely, placed on the scale the moment the stranger let go of the old thing. The stranger gave one deed away and received something greater back. Both scales are now tipped. Both men stand on the right side of the line that divides this plane. They arrived at this moment by completely different roads. One asked and was refused again and again. One gave when there was nothing left to give. Neither of them did what anyone watching from a distance would have predicted. You have been refused. Perhaps recently, perhaps by someone you trusted, someone you thought would help, or someone you thought owed you something. You asked, and the answer was no. That refusal sits in you still. It has a weight of its own, and you carry it, and it changes how you ask the next time, or whether you ask at all. And perhaps you have been in the position of giving when you had almost nothing. You knew what it would cost you. You knew that what you were handing over was not extra. It was necessary. And you gave it anyway, or you almost did, or you are standing right now at the edge of that decision, trying to calculate whether you can afford it. The stranger in this story was not a great figure. He was not someone the man had sought out, someone known for wisdom, or for wealth. He was the last person anyone would have expected to provide the answer. And yet, the answer came from him. The one who gives away his only chance is given too. That is what this story says, plainly and without decoration. This is not a comfortable idea. It does not promise that giving will always be rewarded in the same moment, or in the way you expect, or by the hand you expect it from. It says only that the act of releasing the last thing you have, when someone else needs it more, is itself a deed of a different order. It does not disappear. It goes somewhere. There is one more thing this story holds. The man who received the deed tried to refuse it. He saw the cost to the stranger, and he stepped back. He did not want to take what was not his to take. That moment, the moment of trying to refuse a gift because you can see what it costs the giver, is itself a kind of weight on a scale. Small, perhaps, but not nothing. The plane was endless. The dust was real. The scale was level, and it would not move. He had nothing left to do, and no one left to ask. And then something happened that was not in any plan he had made for himself. That is the shape of this story. Not a lesson written on a wall. A thing that happened on a plane to a man with no name. He had no name in this story because the story was not about who he was. It was about what he did and what was done for him. In the one moment when neither kindness nor hope made any practical sense,